Hello humans, Batsy here with another episode from the SMP. Alright, first things first, I need gear and I need enchants. Oh wait, she is right there, hold up. So as I was saying, I really need to get myself some enchants. I can't be running around with iron armor and no tools at all. So I contacted 𝐋𝐢𝐬𝐬 to make me some. I already crafted myself a few items. I'm gonna be using copper for now, because it's honestly better than diamond armor if we're not planning on fighting. I'm also thinking that I probably should get myself an extendo grip. Oh wow, it requires some mechanical crafters. Maybe I can borrow some from 𝐋𝐢𝐬𝐬. Alright, it wasn't as bad as I thought. Oh, that is super slow, like ridiculously slow. I guess I will play with the levers in the meantime. Yes, distract my bat brain. Goodness, still not done? Several years later. There we go. I also went ahead and made another pickaxe to add silk touch to it. It will make getting stones so much easier. While we waiting for 𝐋𝐢𝐬𝐬 to be done. I normally don't ask for this, but it would help immensely if you all could leave a like if you enjoying the series, and maybe even a comment with suggestions or something. It helps a lot so YouTube promotes my content. Alright, 𝐋𝐢𝐬𝐬𝐬 just said that everything is done. Let's see what we got here. Oh, one more. Okay, so we got protection, cool, and capacity 3, that's nice. Unbreaking and mending in the extendo grip, this will be really useful in a moment. The silk touch pickaxe, of course. And what's this? A silk touch axe, really nice. Fully enchanted shovel, might as well. Oh wait, I can get more thorns, yeah, might as well. The boots are done, and holy smokies, that's a lot of enchants. Goodness, look at that. Those are pretty much perfect, I think. Leggings with swift sneak, of course. And the usual stuff in the rest. This is looking so much better now. Oh wait, I almost forgot to pay for this. No idea if this is enough, but it's all I have for now. Alright, now that I have proper gear, it's time to get mining a little bit. I mainly need redstone, a lot of redstone. The mining dimension has been reset, so we should be able to get plenty of it. And while we are at it, I should be getting some iron for andesite alloys. Some copper and zinc for brass ingots, since redstone components use plenty of those. I guess copper in general is good for fluid stuff. Geez, so many ores in here. This won't take long at this rate. See why I wanted this? Extendo grip is super good to mine the walls and ceiling. Almost forgot about the builder's tee, free haste one anywhere in the world. It's nothing crazy but will help with this slow deep slate. My extendo grip is nearly depleted, and I think I'm going to call it here. Yeah, I don't see any more redstone around here. Alright, let's head back. I'm going to give 𝐋𝐢𝐬𝐬𝐬 my spare builder's tee, in case they keep going. Might as well give her all my lapis, since she is going to use it for enchanting services and stuff. Just finished processing all the ores, and this is what I ended up with. It's a pretty solid amount, I think. Of course, the iron is what I got the most. I was constantly finding tons everywhere. But look at all this redstone though. I hope this will be enough for today at least. I want to start crafting many redstone components. Also got a fair amount of copper and zinc. Only gold is the one I got so little of. I'm happy with the quantities I managed to get for the rest. Also managed to get this much quartz. I think that's going to last me a fair bit honestly. Most items use 1 or 2 quartz at most. I got a few blocks of experience too, from crushing all the ores. I will probably give that to 𝐋𝐢𝐬𝐬𝐬 for their enchanting setup. But yeah, pretty happy with these amounts. That should be enough to get me going through this episode. At least I hope it is. That redstone might end up falling a bit too short. Now, what was the next thing on the agenda? Of course, it was finishing my first building, and check this out guys, doesn't this look amazing? I so love it. I ended up keeping the size fairly small, and not extending it further, and I think it was the right decision honestly. Let me show you a bit with FreeCam, it will be easier to see from above. The texture for now I'm keeping it with plain bricks. I might do some more texturing later on, but I want to make it look like it's brand new. I want this town to look like it is prospering and thriving, not half broken. I draw inspiration from the Industrial Revolution period in Europe. Which, I imagine it was a similar aesthetic in other parts of the world during that era. But basically, lots of brick walls, with mostly squared buildings. Roofs with very little inclination, and some of them completely flat. With mainly orange or reddish walls, and a tendency for darker almost black roofs. You might also notice that the roof is filled with redstone. There are two reasons for that. One, I didn't want to make the building taller to cover those components. And two, I honestly just thought it looked super cool like this. It makes it look a bit more modern than what the Industrial Revolution would look like, but I think this is the theme I want to go for. It's important to not limit your creativity if it deviates a little bit from what you're taking inspiration from. After all, it's just inspiration, not a guideline. And I'm super happy with the first building honestly. I should also figure out what roads would fit nicely with the theme and this color palette. Europe is famous for the mostly grayish stony paths, so maybe I will go for that, to contrast the buildings. But enough of the exterior, let's check out what I did on the inside. The first thing you might notice is the fan art, which of course, I had to bring it here again. I really loved those two pieces, so I wanted to showcase them again. Really amazing job from Lifu. You can also see that I used immersive paintings to do the ceiling. It gives a really clean way to show what each button is for, and it allows to reduce the space a lot more since signs would use plenty of room. Then I have a tiny section here for a bed, and a couple crafting station. Nothing fancy, just the minimums that I'm using around. As for the basement, well, first I changed the floor, slabs makes it a bit easier if tall humans come down here. The wall it's still the same, not decided on what I'm going to be using there. But you can see it's a little bit better to walk around this thing. And of course, the redstone. It's a bit over-engineered for what it actually does, but I really wanted to do it this way. I will explain in a second what it does, but on this corner is just a simple timer to work on a pulse. As for the rest of it, I think it will be easier to understand if I explain what I did above. One requisite I had for this workstation was to work with buttons. I just think they look more clean than levers. The other is those lamps to display when it's operational, which is the opposite because when it's offline it means there is a redstone signal locking the clutch, or whatever it is. I really wanted those two features, because in my opinion, it just looks a lot better, it's clean and more intuitive. Achieving that is not particularly complicated, it just needs some extra steps. The first thing you might notice here are the observers. Those are here to make sure the signal from the buttons travels 2 blocks upwards into those redstone links. Why do I need that and not just place them 1 block below, right above the buttons? Well, that's because the lamps are right here. I placed a row of pulse extenders to revert the signal. It's the most simple way to have the lamps offline when the clutch has a signal and be online when there is no redstone signal. You can see the 2 that are active right now since I pressed them before. Then the redstone signal goes into the industrial blocks in front of them, which is useful to move the signal downwards. But also because if we place 2 redstone lamps in a row, and we power one of them, it's gonna light up the adjacent ones too. To prevent this from happening, we want to power the lamps through a solid block. Now going back to the roof. This extender is powering the block, awesome, we have a signal for the lamp. Except it's not awesome because this signal also leaks forward, and affects the redstone links. So I couldn't place them down there. That's why I used observers to move the button signal 1 more block upwards. Now all this section works perfectly, and there are no leaks. If we go back down now, the rest is very intuitive. First I have 1 row of redstone links from the buttons above. Then I placed a row of extenders with a duration of 20 ticks, that is to prevent the mechanic of the observers from firing twice when the button is pressed and unpressed. Then a row of toggle latches to convert a button into a lever, so it stays online when we press it. And lastly, another row of links that are connected all around the workstation to control some parts of it, mainly clutches. There is also a funnel or chute, but it's mainly to stop each section with a clutch. Some are hard to find, but you can see a couple of them here. The floor of this one is glass, so the signal doesn't leak downwards. There is a clutch down there. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the workstation. It uses many components, but it's fairly simple redstone. Sure, it would be simpler to have a lever, and I was stubborn about using lamps, but doesn't it look so much cooler though? I think it was worth the effort. What is this guy doing here? Anyway, let me know what you think about the first building, and I would love to hear suggestions on what to build next, and what you think so far about this project. Maybe some ideas about texturing, but still making it look brand new. The next thing on the list is making a shop. In this world, I'm a redstone engineer. I'm going to sell components, as well as engineering services, or even teach lessons if someone wants that. I want to get this done as soon as I can because I'm already getting requests, so I want a more official place for people to leave their requests and so on. I have brought a bunch of materials, and several crafting stations. I hope I'm not missing anything that I might need later. As I said that, I realized I was missing stuff, so one long trip to my base later, I think now yes, I got everything I need. I'm not sure about the depot distribution, but I'm pretty sure this is the size I want to work with. The idea is to also make a tiny shop like the rest of my town. Yeah, I think this looks perfect. I think my distribution will be something like this. I have the main stuff on the front, probably for people to sign in on the services. And a fair amount of depots around. Not sure what this is going to be, maybe just a lectern with a book or something. Decided to remove 2 of them from this wall. I will leave the lectern on its own. I have more or less decided what I'm selling, but I still have a couple of spots to think about. Oh, and this one over here. Maybe precision mechanisms or something, and I don't know what else. Electron tubes also make a lot of sense actually. It can be used for a few things, so definitely selling that. As for the redstone goes, I'm using the depots as a way to deposit the payment, so also need a way to give them the items. I don't think another row of depots is a good idea. But barrels, yes, these will look great on the floor. Now I just need to figure out a way to take 1 coin at a time and deposit that amount of items in the barrel at a time. Can't be too hard. This is what I have so far. So the coins go down and the observer will notice them on the depot. If I manage to throw something there. There we go, that worked. Let's check again. Yes, that works. So if I revert them all, then. Yes, all the funnels are locked. And there is still room in between for the right side of the shop. Slowly getting there. In my mind, this should work. The funnel is locked unless a coin goes through that observer and unlocks it for a couple of ticks. Then all I need is a mechanical arm to do the job. Going to place some casings in here and throw something to see if that works. Alright, some items came out, that's perfect. The mechanical arm is broken apparently, but the rest works perfectly so far. Never mind, this is just the slowest arm in the world. But I'm pleased with this. I'm going to take this idea to the drawing board and figure out the details and everything. I will bring the humans back when I have something more going on. While I was working on the shop, Damdra asked me to build her a steam engine. And I did just that. I took one of the rooms from her laboratory and adapted it to fit a steam engine. It's a lever 9, of course, we want plenty of power. And it's being fueled by cauldrons because this is pretty simple to set up. With a pump to extract the lava and a tank that is empty for now, but it should eventually fill up. Just need to let this thing run for a while longer. I used some of the big water wheels to have enough dedicated power for the pumps and mechanical arms. It is to ensure the steam engine doesn't need to be jump-started every time. The rest is just what you would imagine from a steam engine really. Nothing particularly fancy about this setup. I did place some glass here. I thought was funny to see what Damdra was working with before, with the new power supply on its side. I have a couple of videos about steam engines if you are interested in how these things work, but for this episode, I won't be getting into all the little details. I'm happy with the result, so with this contract done, it's time to go back to work on the shop. Or maybe not because I got sidetracked and ended up building this witch farm. I'm already running low on redstone and thought why not have some passive income? Then I realized that I'm playing on a server, you know, with other people. If that is not obvious enough, let me explain. Because no one is spawn-proofing everything. The mob cap is obviously always at the limit, or near the limit. That means that even if I'm in the AFK platform and I'm not contributing to the mob cap, the rest are, and that reduces the spawn rates of witches to pretty much too low to even consider it. Making this farm a complete waste of time, but to be fair it took me 10 minutes to build, so who cares? As for the shop goes. Well, it took me much longer than I was expecting, like, several days longer than I thought it would. I'm going to have to fix some issues here and there, I'm sure of it, but it's mostly functional by now. And here it is. I think the exterior is phenomenal, I'm really pleased with the front part. The billboard fits really nicely, and it keeps the same theme as my town, which was the goal for this. You might notice I have added several details, and things around. It was all for the sake of making it look more industrial and such. Again, it is not quite like the Industrial Revolution, but this is exactly the theme I have in mind for the rest of the town. Maybe not all buildings with this type of details, but I'm definitely going to use this more. I really love how the industrial iron looks with the bricks, it combines so nicely. The contrast is just perfect. I have also added a bit of texturing around, but granite was mostly the only thing that was fitting enough, and I'm not entirely sure about it. It does look alright, but it looks like the building is a bit older than I want it to be. The granite on the floor I do like, I think it's a good transition for the grass, but I'm not convinced in the walls, maybe polished granite as a strip at the bottom would have been a better idea. I'm very happy with this, but I want ideas on how to make it look brand new and still have some textures rather than plain bricks all around. Now let's check the real deal, the awesome interior. Or maybe not that awesome, I didn't bother decorating. I mostly displayed the items and such. Though it looks very clean I think. It's small but well organized, and there is enough room between depots and everything. But the coolest wall is this one for sure. There is a barrel where all the money will end up. And of course, the board for the services, which I decided to use a clipboard at the end. Engineering services, lessons, or bulk orders. Bulk orders, I thought about it because people generally don't buy a lot of these. If I can find it. Down there you can see some barrels, that's the size of my stock. At most, I won't even have 2,000 of each component at a given time, which I doubt anyone is going to buy that much. So if anyone needs more, then they can come here and leave an order instead. And for the lessons or the engineering services too. They can come in here and simply drop their name on this clipboard, it's very handy. There is also this awesome fan art made by 𝐋𝐢𝐬 once again. I thought was super fitting for this shop. With the create wrench and everything. I love this one. But, that's pretty much the shop. An ender chest in case people need to access their stuff, and just the rest of the items that are for sale. Oh, yes, I used a sign to display the stock, because it's down there, so people might not know how much is left. It also shows if there is no stock left, so they don't waste time trying to buy them. I used signs because I barely had room to place the display link, much less use the boards for anything bigger than a sign. If you count the rotational force needed and everything. This was a much better solution, and I actually love how it looks. Maybe green would look better, but I like this pastel pink. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with this store, all things considered. The only item that I'm likely to change is the precision mechanism. I'm not convinced about it, I know some will buy them, but I'm probably going to leave it for others to sell them. Everything else I do like, it's fitting well with my theme. I could try to buy something to see it in action. Here I can get 32 extenders for every gold coin I pay. I'm going to use 2 coins to get a stack of them. Just need to give the machine a second to count the coins and give me the right amount. And here you go, what I paid for. The stock left is also updated, which is very handy. If I place all my money instead, you can see how it's slowly going down. It gave me the entire stock that was in the barrel, but look, it's not taking coins anymore. The system is slow but makes sure to not take more than it offers. I could do the same on these ones. You can see how it's slowly giving me 32 items at a time, which is the amount for one coin. Yes, it's not crazy fast, but who is in a hurry to buy redstone components anyway? And the remaining of my coins are here. I could even throw coins on all of them at the same time and it should work perfectly in parallel. And as I said before, here is where all the coins end up, which wasn't necessary, but I thought was cool. Now let's take a look at how all of this works. Yes, there is quite the amount of redstone here. But fear not, it ends up being a couple of basic things. Nothing would work without power, and for that, I'm using 4 passive engines. I actually have no idea why is there a missing block. Guess when I expanded I forgot to place it back. Oh well, who cares, it's working well, and giving power to all the arms. I'm transferring the rotation into the belts on each side, and simply taking it from there for the rest of things. There isn't much in the way other than a couple of cogs here and there. I think I will use free cam for the rest, might be much easier to see. So, here is the new setup I made. Same concept as before, I just tweaked it to be more efficient and reliable. But first things first. The depot idea was a failure for several reasons. So I made it with chutes instead. It's the same, and it's so much more reliable. First, you would place the coins on that depot up there. And that leads to the first funnel, which then drops the coins down the chute, one at a time. That moves it to the belts and into the barrel above. First question, why is this a funnel and not a smart chute with the same filter? For that, we need to take a look at the first section of redstone. At the wall I used a row of redstone attached to this block. This is a redstone clock. That ensures that the signal is constant for 29 of every 30 ticks. This can easily be done with Create, but thought might as well use this mod since I have it. You can see here how they blink for a moment, and you might be thinking, well that's not a lot of time. And that's exactly the issue with a chute, there's not enough time, and the item gets stuck inside and never leaves. A funnel though, a funnel spits an item every time it unlocks. It doesn't matter if it unlocks for 1 tick, it will already spit an item. That makes it incredibly easy to set up the rest, and timings aren't needed anymore. If there is no stock, the funnel will lock entirely, regardless if the clock is still going. And if it's unlocked and a coin does go through, it will go down the chute. Then when it reaches this block, it will be detected by the observer. That will turn offline each of those pulse repeaters for a fraction, which will unlock the funnel and that will spit an item into the depot. Then the mechanical arm simply grabs the items and moves them upwards. With one dedicated arm for every single one of those barrels. So even if we buy several items in parallel, all of them should work at the same speed, and more importantly, not break. All of those observers are what overrules the redstone clock and locks the funnels if there is no stock. If there is stock, they emit a redstone signal. So, I took that signal and inverted it so it works when it's empty and not full. You can see this down here, it's a simple row of links attached to inverted extenders. Those go into the links connected to the funnels, but there is also the clock on the other side to control the timings. All in all, I'm quite happy with this setup. I guarantee I will have to fine-tune some things, but it's a very solid start. And by start I mean it took me a couple of days to polish it because I was making it a whole lot more complicated than it really was. But that's the fate of anyone experimenting with redstone, too often you realize later on how simple it actually was. The only thing I wish I could change are the barrels. It's really hard to restock the shop, but there is also no room for an automated restocking system unless I make the shop bigger, but that defeats the purpose. I could probably remove this belt here and have a better system down there. Maybe placing the barrel between those belts at the back. I don't need it up here anyway. For now, the shop is complete, and I really love it. It fits the theme, it looks good, and the buying system is really cool. I think it's a compact and really awesome shop if I do say so myself. Super happy with how this turned out, I think it was well worth the effort to make it work. And I thought this was going to be it for this week, but no, I have one last thing to show. Remember I made a witch farm and it was obviously horrible? Well, I thought about making a redstone farm with Create, but I ended up doing something else instead. Yes, I made a storage system in the middle of the ocean. I'm joking, I actually made a stacking raid farm. For a couple of reasons really. It is fairly simple to build, it took me about half an hour to set up. It is more annoying to get going though, and it does require a bit of finesse. The alignment is ridiculously sensitive too, so it sounds like it's mostly negatives. But the fact that is so quick to build, and some of the extra things I can get from it. Instead of selling precision mechanisms, I'm going to be selling totems, since we are allowed up to 2 items that don't fit the shop theme. It also gives glowstone dust, which will be great to produce redstone lamps. It also gives a metric ton of experience, like a whole lot. You can see the amount of levels I have already. This will help Damdra a whole lot for her enchanting services. The rest are smaller things that might be nice to have some stock of, but not particularly relevant in bulk. And of course, the useless emeralds since we don't have villager trades for them anyway. I might end up doing a machine to produce redstone with Create, but for the time being, this is the best solution. With that, now yes, this will be the end of this episode. It was a very productive week, and I think I made solid progress with my project. I will stay here for a while until all my experience has been drained, but I will see you all on the next episode. Take care everyone. Bye!